In a rare public appearance, former Cuban leader Fidel Castro told the 7th Congress of the Communist Party that leadership will not change soon. At 90 years old, this may be the last time he addresses the 1,000-member body, which meets every 5 years. This contradicts previous reports that Castro's brother, Raul, announced he would step down in 2018. According to a report on National Public Radio, experts believe this is in direct response to President Barack Obama's recent visit, invigorating the private sector in Cuba, which employs about a quarter of the workforce. With hopes of establishing agricultural trade with the island nation, a group of ag leaders from Louisiana and Arkansas traveled to Cuba. Last week I showed you how free enterprise is already a major part of Cuba's agricultural sector. This week we look at the culture of our neighbor 90 miles off the Florida coast and what you could gain from the people of Cuba. The festive sounds of this motley crew welcome these visitors from Louisiana and Arkansas to Old Havana, an area that looks, sounds, and feels a lot like the French Quarter in New Orleans. The area's art and architecture provide Merrill Kennedy with one of the tools she needs to sell rice in Cuba.
I think that you have to understand the culture of Cuban people and of Cuba to understand how to negotiate, how to see how we can open up things or communicate with people, how to understand their culture.
It's a culture where education and healthcare are paramount, as demonstrated at the Cuban Center for Genetic Engineering and Biotechnology. It's here where Congressman Ralph Abraham of Louisiana and Rick Crawford of Arkansas learn about drugs created in Cuba that make cattle resistant to ticks with 90% effectiveness, heal diabetic foot ulcers, which reduced amputations in the country by nearly 80%, and prevent HIV transmission between mother and baby.
Well, like the U.S., they are, I think, also on the cutting edge of biotechnology, and what that offers, certainly in plant and animal production, is increased productivity, disease-resistant species, just better quality food and more quantity for not only Cuba, but for the rest of the world.
Those are the kinds of things that we should focus in on and recognize that there's a value proposition, not just for the Cubans, not just for us, but as we continue to develop this relationship, we certainly can all benefit from this.
Congressman Crawford's Cuba Agricultural Exports Act is still awaiting action by the House Agriculture Committee. He's hoping to get at least 100 co-sponsors before bringing it up for a vote. And he's asking you to contact your congressman to support the Cuba Agricultural Exports Act. One congressman who is supporting Crawford's bill is Louisiana Congressman Charles Bustani. Bustani is a member of the House Subcommittee on Trade. He represents rice farmers in southwestern Louisiana and knows opening the Cuban market would help his constituents.
And the fact is, we should be expanding agricultural exports into Cuba. This will help our farmers across the board, certainly the rice industry, and I think it's time.
Congressman Bustani is hoping to take his support for trade to Cuba to the upper house. Bustani is running for Louisiana's Senate seat currently held by David Vitter. Senator Vitter announced that he would not seek re-election. Still to come on TWILA, we get a little Cajun surf and turf in this edition of Feasting on Agriculture.
Stay with us.